Good evening, everybody, and hope you have enjoyed the 3 or 4 day weekend if you're from the UK, and welcome to round number 6 here at the GPVWC Academy Series, and we are taking the World Championship part of GPVWC, literally, because we are in Africa today. That's right, we are at the Kyalami circuit in South Africa, a racetrack that is steeped in history, and we cannot get ready. Well, we cannot wait, should I say, to get going for what should be 2 very, very fun races this evening. With Amir Oates on the broadcast machine this evening, you join myself, Ross McIntyre, and alongside me a man who is a little bit unwell, but his dedication to the craft, it knows no bounds. You know him, you love him, he doesn't need an introduction. It's the arbitrator of the Academy Series. Give it up for Juho Sopanen!
Thank you. And really happy to be here at the Kyalami circuit, and it is a very, very nice track, honestly. One of my all-time favorites. And of course, that intro was amazing. So thank you, Ross, for introducing me here as well.
Not a problem, my friend. Yeah, we are just underway in our qualifying session. Of course, private qualifying, as always, in GPVWC. People, I think, are just about getting underway with their first laps. Indeed, they are. A couple of drivers just coming to the end of sector number 1. So we're seeing lots of purple sectors. Lucas McIntyre actually just completing sector 2, of course. Don't worry. We don't know who's quick until the end of our opening banker lap, so to speak, the way that our Factor 2 qualifying works. And especially in a private qualifying, you get a purple sector if you are the fastest time through that sector. But of course, because no one's completed the lap, everybody gets purple, essentially. It's a bit confusing to wrap your head around. Matchlick, very, very laborious on track limits there at the end, though. And he puts down a 131.367 as the initial benchmark. Soroka, some 7/10 away. McKenna, another half a tenth. Osama Kanani, a further 10th back as well. So it looks like Matchlick is the early pace setter here, as we follow around Savali Sukac making his way through. He's on 2 greens at the moment, set up to be 5/10 off. Could be a bit more as he gets a bit squirrely on the exit of the final corner. Down at Ingwe, as it is called. Of course, this new Kyalami circuit, a bit different since the one that we maybe all know well and love from historic motorsport, a circuit that's been through a lot of changes, the current layout being in place since 2015, with 16 turns to its name, just a touch over 4.5 kilometers or 2.8 miles in old school money. Should provide a lot of fun racing for us to enjoy out here. Of course, a circuit that is often clamoured to get some big races back. Not really had any major motorsport here really since World Superbikes last came in 2010. There was the Intercontinental GT Challenge back in 2022 and 2023. And outside of that, the only really major race it hosts is the Kyalami 9 Hours, which was resurrected following COVID in 2022. It continues to be one of the primary motorsport events on the African continent. But here at Academy, we're all going to prove them all wrong. We're going to show that single-seater racing can flourish and thrive, and especially in the best of the best sim racing championship. Academy, of course, it is the first step on our GPVWC career ladder. If this is your first time tuning into GPVWC, hello and welcome. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Go down to the links in the description, the website, the Discord, join up, find out how you can get involved. But in terms of what actually is on offer here, this is very much the proving ground for drivers looking to make a name for themselves in GPVWC. Sometimes you get drivers who, for whatever reason, are just without a seat but have proven themselves before, want to keep their skills sharp. So out there, you like some McKenna, Osama Kanani as well. Some more well-known names. Lorenzo Enterich-Funcic as well, one of our GPVWC commentary crew. He's out there this evening. He's put a lot of time in. You also see Maggio in P17. That's not Alessandro Maggio. That's a different Maggio out there this evening in Davide, also Italian, possibly related, not quite sure, have to check up on that one. But this is where you make your start in GPVWC. You turn up here in the Academy Series. It's very much a proving ground. Sometimes it's a bit chaotic. You get people who are new to racing, new to sim racing, just trying to show what you can do, hopefully trying to entice one of the teams a bit further up the field in Formula Sprint 2, in Formula Sprint, or maybe even in Super Lights as well, if you're really, really that quick. So you get a whole different mix of abilities, a whole different mix of racing styles, but it does make it some of the most fun sim racing you will ever see. 8 minutes and 45 then left on the clock in this qualifying session. This, of course, will decide the grid for the opening race of the day, and then of course we'll have race number 2 a little bit later on. As it's currently looking, Juho, quite a large field spread, 2/10 back from Matchlick on provisional pole to Duval in P2, although Francesco Grimalizzi only he's actually less than a tenth away, should I say. So some drivers close together, some drivers a bit further apart, but I guess that's the nature of Kyalami. It's quite a long circuit, quite a challenging circuit.
Yeah, obviously it is a challenging circuit as well, and obviously last time around we had a closer field, but it seemed like most of the drivers knew how to drive the track, and now that's a bit of a different circuit, and nobody hasn't known this. Some people know the track by heart, but obviously it takes a lot of skill, as we see Francesco Grimalizzi currently. Pretty much fastest on the first sector by 1 millisecond, but 1/10 off in the second sector as well. But as we go through the fast left-hander and right-hander, and we go through the last corner now, and let's see how Grimalizzi will do here. And he doesn't improve, but still he tried there as well. But yeah, most of the drivers. Well, they're not familiar, but everybody's really wanting Kyalami back. So do I, actually. So, let's hope that single-seater racing in the Kyalami will be absolutely amazing here, honestly.
Well, it's one of the age-old debates, isn't it? Can you really call yourself a world championship if you're not at least visiting every continent on the Earth that has a racetrack? Of course, yes, Antarctica is a continent. Yes, there's no racetracks there, funny enough. It's like minus 30 degrees all the time. But it's a very valid point. Can you really be calling yourself, no matter what motorsport series it is, be it on 4 wheels or 2 wheels, can you call yourself a world championship if you don't visit a circuit on every continent that has a racetrack? And that applies here as well to sim racing and to GPVWC. But it's good at least that we do come for the Academy Series. Of course, we don't come, and we haven't come, I think, for a long old while, if we have ever come, in the likes of Super League or Formula Sprint 1, which are our 2 primary series, even though Super Lights does slot between them on the career pyramid, or the career ladder, as we like to call it. A lot of drivers you do get sticking around in Formula Sprint 1 instead of jumping up to Super Lights, as it's kind of the Premier Class 4, your out-and-out sprint racing, rather than a full proper Grand Prix style distance, as Anthony Duval now looks like he's on a pretty solid lap, almost a quarter of a second up on the session best in Sector 1. Sector 2 a little bit messy though, so he's got time to make up in the final sector as he barrels his way over the curbs. Because Kyalami, obviously, it's essentially a new track since 2015. It's very, very different from what it used to be, but because a lot of it is new, or newish in the grand scheme of things, you get a lot of bits of the track that are really, really, really wide, if you'll excuse me there. As Duval makes his way to the line, does not improve and stays P4. James Rockway, though, slots into provisional pole by an absolute whisker, 8 thousandths clear of Matchlick, who's now starting another lap. As I was saying, though, because it's quite wide in a lot of places at this track, these Academy cars are not particularly big for a modern Formula car. So you do get a lot of overtaking opportunities. You can go 3-4 wide sometimes, especially down into turn 1. Matchlick getting a bit squirrely, though, on the exit of turn 1. As I say that, technically turn 2, they do class the slight kink on the main straight as turn 1. But we'll go on board and we'll continue around with Matchlick, who is up despite that moment, making his way around the huge sunset bend, that massive right-hander where you can lose a whole host of time if you get it wrong, if you go in and your left-hand tyres are too hot for Clubhouse, and then the S's. Very, very awkward part of the racetrack there. This is where you really separate the good from the great as you go through the left and then the right, and then start climbing to the bottom end of the circuit down at Loikop. Again, very awkward, slightly off-camber. It's technically not a hairpin. It is technically a double apex corner that are classed as 2 corners, but for the grand scheme of things, it is 1 turn. And then you're down into the back end of the circuit, the final sector through Mineshaft. pretty inconsequential turn in a modern racing car. Then you got the crocodile section, this awkward mid-speed right, and you're hanging out. This basically, that turn 14 is basically not really a corner, let's be honest. Then Cheetah at 15, then down into Ingve, turn at 16, the final left-hander on the circuit. Again, big overtaking opportunity. If you can get it right, that's a very liberal view on track limits from Matulik, and that will surely not be pole position, and indeed it isn't, and the lap time was deleted, even if he did not go faster as well as a result of that final corner moment. There is still time, though, to go up. 3 minutes and 35 left on the clock, so still opportunity for things to change for what seems to be set on a 17-driver grid. Again, a little bit less than maybe we would have hoped for out there this evening. But I guess that's because Kyalami, modern Kyalami, not as well of a known circuit as some of the other tracks we visited in the last couple of weeks. Of course, we've so far been to Istanbul, Melbourne, Suzuka, Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and Sepang last time out. So we've stuck it pretty close to the primary calendar we use in GPVWC. Of course, we started a little bit earlier, went to Istanbul, part of the Turkish Grand Prix, which isn't on the calendar proper, but it has been a track we've used many times before. And then here at Kyalami, again, it's a track that's not very well known, not well used a lot in a lot of sim racing series. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. But still, as that's a big moment there, it's starting to get a bit tight here in qualifying, Juho. People really starting to push the boundaries here.
Yeah, people are starting to push the boundaries, and they know that the track evolution has gotten much more better for the drivers. And here we see Nova McKenna on her outlap as well, and of course going through what is Lukop as well, and here is Osama Kanani as well. Not far off in Sector 1, and personal best in Sector 2, going through Cheetah and now going through Ingwe, and here we go. This is the part where everybody gets it wrong. There are opportunities in overtaking, as Osama Kanani now goes up to P5 as well. Very tidy lap, and here's Anthony Duval, very tidy on the first sector, just a little bit squirrely on second sector, but either way, through Ingwe now, and he gets it right. Looks like the throw input is very good, and DRS on, and he goes provisional pole by almost 2/10.
Yeah, nice lap there by Duval, but time is not done yet. We'll be seeing our last lap starting momentarily. Duval may be going for another push. Looks like Rockway also on a lap, but he's down in Sector 1. Making his way through some of the left-handers down at the middle part of the circuit here. So Duval, Rockway, Matulik, Grimilozzi, and Canini, your top 5, as Rockway gets it very long. He does have the time to back off and go again. Matulik also a little bit down, 6/10 in fact through sector number 1, so he may need to go again if he has the time to do so, but I'm not sure that he will, because it's getting a bit nervous on the clock. 50 seconds until the checkered flag comes out. And this could be as tight as you like, this could be as close as you like. What can Lucas Matulik do as he comes into the final section of the racetrack? Makes his way through the right-hander, then the left-hander there pretty easily through Cheetah. A very nervy right-hand flick. You don't want to have any overheating tyres in that one. And then makes his way through the final corner. Will have time to go again. Runs it very wide onto the corner exit, but it wasn't a great lap at all. So he will push onwards. Hopefully there's still life left in those tyres. Hopefully he's still able to continue to push onwards, and that's Rockway. His qualifying session is down and out, heavy into the wall there, and he'll escape back to the pit lane. So Duval also isn't on the lap. It's all up to Matulik now, unless someone like Sergei Soroka, someone like McKinnon can maybe find something a bit special on this final lap. Checkered flag is waving here at Kyalami for our qualifying session. And right now, Anthony Duval is sitting pretty at the top of the timing sheets. A 10th, nearly 2/10 to the good. Soroka, his lap not looking particularly strong. He's about 2, maybe 3/10 down overall on this lap. He needs something special through the final couple of corners. Into Ingve he goes, gets it pinned right up close to the inside curb. A little bit shallow on exit, but it looks like a good drive to the line. Keeps it nice and short. Is it an improvement? It's a better final sector, but it's not to be. Can Matthew McKinnon now do something? But he's also on a pretty poor lap. What about Matulik, who's down, but by, well, I was about to say a whisker, but McKinnon, I still don't think is on something. Matulik, yeah, it's really tight for Matulik, but he could still maybe jump up into second place with a good final sector. McKinnon comes to the line, doubt he will improve, does not improve. He'll be starting P6 unless somebody can find something special. Here is Matulik. He's down a lot in the first sector, barely in the second one, actually not down a lot at all, should I say, but does not improve. He will stay in P3. So I think that's going to be it. There are a few other people still on laps. Looks like Timo Kulan has had an issue in the middle sector, and that's going to be his day done. Lorenzo Entrovic-Funcic also down and out in P15. So I think that looks like it's going to be it, Juho. It looks like it's going to be Deval, Rockquiet, Matulik as your top three. Deval nearly 2/10 to the good at the end of qualifying. In sim racing terms, that is a lot of time.
A lot of time as well. And Deval got it right, and honestly, very, very tight lap. Rockquiet was almost there, but unfortunately that crash cost him a lot. So, yeah, it seems like honestly, Deval is now on pole position for race 1.
Of course, 2 races this evening coming your way. This qualifying only decides the start of race number 1. So that'll be it then. Let's run through your grid for this opening race at the end of qualifying. It will be Anthony Deval who starts from the pole position. Alongside him on the front row is James Rockquay, Lucas Matulik and Francesco Grimalizzi make up the second row of the grid. Osama Kanani, our rumours king, is P5. He's alongside Matthew McKinnon. Then we've got Sergei Soroka in P7. Nova McKenna starts in P8. Jamie Klomp is 9th. And Martin Rietberg, he starts P10, rounding out, well, I would say our kind of first collection of 10, but we've only got 17 with us here, unfortunately, possibly 50 or 16 as someone appears to have dropped out. But we'll read this 11 to 17 as it should be. We've got Sabalay Kochikov, Sujkac, alongside Georgios Devakos. Then it's Timo Kulan and Nathaniel Dance, Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic and Amir Al-Hafi. And then starting possibly alone on row number, that'll be row number 8, I want to say. Yeah, no, row number 9 it'll be if he does start there. Again, it looks like somebody has dropped out of the session. Davide Maggio, again, no idea if there is any relation to Alessandro Maggio from the Vale Esports team in Super League. But that's the end of our qualifying session. Then, of course, we'll have a warm-up session before we get going for our first race this evening, and should be very, very interesting, especially with Deval looking pretty quick at the top of the timing screens here at Kyalami. It's a 43-degree track temperature. It is quite warm. No pit stops are required in GPVWC Academy, but it could still cause a little bit of havoc for the tyres with 2 14-lap races awaiting us. We'll wait and see as the green flag comes out, or the green light at the end of the pit lane, should I say, for our 10-minute warm-up session. Juho, what kind of things can we expect to see here tonight at Kyalami? Are we thinking chaos? Are we thinking really good racing? Or is it going to be single file and boring?
Well, you got a good question from that. So I think it's going to be pretty much chaos and good racing, to be fair. Those are the mixtures, what we've seen in Academy Series, honestly. And from my experience on this, well, after Malaysia, there was a bit of chaos, but I think there is more of people wanting to do great. They want to win this. They are hungry to show what they're wanting to be, basically a winner, and they want to absolutely get on top of the Academy Series for sure. Because either way, Kyalami is a very technical track as well, so people will try to take it carefully for most of the time. I think people will start to overtake at least on halfway through the race. And as we see, someone's warming up their tires on the straight, as we see from one of the purple cars. It looks like it's Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic, and yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think you'll expect chaos and good racing, but also oh, that's Savelli. So yeah, either way, good racing, and someone's gone a bit off into that. That's a bit suboptimal, to be fair.
Yeah, it's not what you want to see, is it? But hopefully they're able to continue onwards and everything is okay. I have breaking news confirmed by the man himself that Davide Maggio is in fact Alessandro Maggio's younger brother. God help us, there's two of them. There's two of them. Does he also have horrendous internet? Nobody knows, but great to see that the family connection, hopefully the family connection goes strong, and hopefully some of Alessandro's pace can rub off, and not his dodgy internet can rub off on his younger brother. Great to have Davide with us here then this evening, as, oh God, there is another one. Another thing I want to talk about quickly after that awful revelation, I guess is the term I'll use, all joking aside. Yeah, we got a couple of tracks confirmed for the Academy Series coming up. I have been told, I have been given what we've got, and I have been told what we can and we can't talk about for the time being. So there we do see it.
Poland!
So, as we see on the 18th of May, we are heading to Spain. Again, there is called the Spanish Grand Prix. It's technically not the Spanish Grand Prix. That is at Aragon. Should be very, very interesting. Again, a circuit that we don't normally go to here in GPVWC. You don't really see a lot of car racing outside of kind of national Porsches there in Spain. Much more of a bike circuit nowadays. So really interesting to see how that runs and how we go over the top of the hill. And then we're heading to Imola. Pretty simple. On the 15th of June. It's Imola. Everybody knows it. Then 29th of June. Brands Hatch. I'm assuming that's the GP circuit, not the Indy, because that would be absolute chaos, but that's going to be a lot of fun. Then 13th of July, we go to Zandvoort. 27th of July, we're going to Hockenheim. And 10th of August, that's right, we're going to Poland, the only homologated circuit in the entirety of Poland, Tor Poznan. Oh, I'm so happy we're going to that place. Whoever came up with that idea and said, yeah, let's go there, I could kiss you. What a racetrack. Of course, it's whether it still exists or not is a bit up in the air at the moment. It got announced that the police had ordered it to close down due to noise complaints the other day. That then got rescinded by like a private review like a couple of days later. So it is still open. I don't know if there's any racing going on there at the moment, but it's a fantastic, fantastic racetrack. There's a really good version of it on a Seto course or on another sim. If you've got a Seto, go around there on there. It's really, really fun. I love that racetrack so much. I'm so happy we're going there. Get a bit of Polish representation for the track side of things as well. It is the only FIA homologated circuit in Poland, but we've got more than enough Polish drivers throughout GPVWC. We may as well go and have a race there, or two races for Academy at some point as well. So really excited that we're going to Tor Poznan. That is on the 10th of August. And then, of course, there'll be plenty more Academy coming your way afterwards, but that's what we've got confirmed so far. So after this one, Aragon, then Imola, then Brands Hatch, presumably GP, then Zandvoort, then Hockenheim, then Tor Poznan. Oh, your next 6 races should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Should be some fun racing. Brands Hatch, I think, and Aragon, actually, I think, yeah, there'll be a lot of fun, especially. Brands Hatch is always really, really good for smaller Formula cars. So I think that'll be a big grid. It's a track that everyone knows and should provide some great racing.
Yeah, I mean, Aragon, I love that track, honestly. I've driven it on iRacing and also in GP bikes as well. And honestly, I recommend everyone to drive Aragon if they've never driven it before, because it is a technical track, but also very, very fun to drive. And then, of course, Brands Hatch, classic, absolutely classic. I love that track as well. But what I'm so excited about is Tor Poznan. Honestly, that's amazing. Props to GPVWC for bringing it up, because honestly, Poland, like, Tor Poznan was about to be shut down, as you said, but it's been brought back, and one of the GPV drivers actually is trying to protest it to come back on racing terms as well. Krzysztof Szczerski, shout out to him as well, and really just super happy to see Poland, and this has made my day really better to hear that Poznan is back.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see. And yeah, Aragon as well. I didn't know you were a GP bikes at Juho. That's struck me as a bit of surprise. You didn't strike me as a person who'd have GP bikes, but, you know, fair enough.
I've ridden motorbikes, so yeah. Why not use GP bikes as well? Because I've done like track days in motorbikes as well, and really it is fun to do GP bikes, and honestly if we're gonna have a GPVWC bikes format at some point, then I would be glad to absolutely be doing that series as well.
Well, you know, at the end of the year when we do our millions of, or we try and propose our millions of special events, because every time I mention let's do an academy race at Martinsville, no one listens to me. But I would very heavily get behind a GP bikes event of some description. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and especially for maybe the people who aren't into bike racing as much, shall we say, and we convince them to get it and give it a go. I'd be interested to see how many corners they can make it through before they get thrown 10 feet up in the air, as Lorenzo Eterovic makes his way back into pit lane. I think he was struggling with some issues hardware-wise earlier on in the evening, so hopefully he's managed to sort out all of those problems, and he's able to continue onwards and to continue to push on this evening and hopefully have a couple of strong races as Anthony Zaval gets it a bit wrong coming into the final turn down at Ingve. 2 minutes left to go in this warm-up session, though. If you are just joining us, don't worry, you missed a really interesting qualifying session, missed us nerding out over Polish and Spanish racing circuits that cars don't really go to anymore, and now we are getting ready for our first of 2 14-lap races, and should be a lot of fun here at Kyalami in South Africa, a circuit that has so much history, but unfortunately on the global motorsport stage has fallen by the wayside over the last couple of decades, even with changes and upgrades and all the like. And we are, that's nearly an airplane crash there, we are at the forefront of bringing it at least back in sim racing. We're on board with Matchlook here. The number 1 driver, I believe. No, it's the number, not the 1 driver. The number 11, should I say, out there. Of course, no teams here in Academy. It's just yourself. You get assigned whatever car you get assigned. It's all technically run by GPV. I guess it's as close to a stock series as we have, even though, of course, you do get free reign over the setup. It's not quite a fixed series in that, but should be a lot of fun as Matchlook makes his way through the S's section there. So, as we do get ready to go racing, it's a very warm track temperature again, just under 43 degrees Celsius, which could cause a little bit of havoc on the tyres towards the end of the race. There are some big corners here at Kyalami that really rely on mechanical grip, really rely on the rubber. But of course, that then pumps a load of heat through the tyres. There's some heavy braking zones here as well. And you know, it's in South Africa. It gets quite warm in South Africa. Don't know if you knew that one. But should be a lot of fun regardless. I'm excited to see how we get on with it, even with this smaller grid. Unfortunately, not as many drivers as we would have liked coming into this one. But we do still have some new faces, of course. We've got some returning faces. We've got some faces who have been previous competitors in GPVWC and maybe don't have a seat for this season or don't really have the time for a full-time seat, but still want to stay involved, still want to have a bit of fun behind the wheel. So as we get ready to come to the end of our practice or warm-up session, should I say, the question is, Juho, are you ready?
I am ready, more than ready for this race, honestly. Bringing back Kyalami also for this season. Last year we saw it as well. It is going to be really fun, honestly, to see how people will perform in this track as well. And honestly, right now, it's going to be quite fun to see also some returning drivers as well to this grid. I mean, Amir Al-Hafi is one that's returning to the grid as well, so we're very happy to see him as well. But also, I think honestly we'll have a great race, and yeah, let battle commence.
Absolutely. It's always fun here at GPVWC Academy. Again, this is the proving ground. This is where you make your start. This is where you show the GPVWC world the best of the best sim racing in R Factor 2. You show what you can do. You show what you're made of. And then, obviously, after an Academy race or two, hopefully someone's able to come in and pick you up for a full-time seat up in Formula Sprint 2, up in Formula Sprint 1, and then you can really start to forge your GPV career. And of course, setting your eyes on the heady heights of the Super League, where the best of the best in R Factor 2 sim racing come together to do battle once every 2 weeks. They'll, of course, be joining us this Thursday, the Super League guys, as they go to Sepang. Up tomorrow, we also have the Super Lights guys at Sepang as well. So make sure you're tuning in for those ones. Same time at around about 7:30 British summer time. as it always is here in GPV. Tuesday night for Super Lights, Thursday night for the big boys and girls up in Super League. But we do have checkered flag in our warm-up session. The rest of the cars will be making their way back into the pit lane, and then it'll be time for us to get going. Get ready for 14 laps of racing. Same distance for both races tonight, but of course, you want to have a good race one, so you get a good starting position in race number 2 as well. So it's anybody's guess how it's all going to unfold coming into this one as we get ready for it, because we get ready for 14 laps of racing here. 6th round of the season, of course, here in Academy, even though we don't really keep track of the championship and things. This is very much a race-by-race basis, but it should be a lot of fun. Drivers will be making their way onto the grid. We'll have one green flag lap, one formation lap, and then it will be lights out, and we will be going. So what can we expect? I know I've asked you this a few times, Juho, but what can we expect as we get ready to go racing in this one? But before we do, let's just take a moment. Just in time for us to be getting underway on our formation lap here, as we saw that lovely cut screen from the GPV organisation. Thanks, Amir, for reminding me that we had to do that one. Before we get to our grid, Juho, one last question again. What can we expect from this one?
Chaos and good racing, honestly. Let's see what happens today, because either way, the top 2 is pretty close, and the top 3 is pretty close. So, yeah, it's time for the grid right now, and yeah. They are currently doing the formation lap, so let alone we got to do the formation grid.
Absolutely. Let's get things going and let's have a little run through what you can expect to see on the starting grid in race number 1. It's Anthony Duval from pole, James Rockwire alongside P3 Lucas Matchlick and P4 Francesco Grimaluzzi. Then it's Osama Kanani, Matthew McKinnon, Sergey Soroka and Nova McKenna making up rows number 3 and 4. Good qualifying there from Nova. She'll be looking to try and move forward in this one. Rounding out the top 10, it's Jamie Klom and Martin Rietberg with P11, Savali Kochkev, Sukac, and then P12 alongside Georgios Davakos. P13, we've got Timo Kulan alongside Nathaniel Dance. Then it's Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic and Amir Al-Hafi. And then we've only got the one driver on the next screen, unfortunately. P17, the younger brother of Satan himself. It is Davide Maggio. I'm joking, Davide. Really excited to see what you can do in this one. And even though I do like to abuse your older brother, he's actually quite nice and he's quite quick as well. So interesting to see if he's got any of the pace that his brother does anyway. And interesting to see if he's got better internet as well. So we'll wait and see. But coming into the grid then, and making his way to his grid box, your pole sitter, Anthony Duval, James Rockwire alongside some big names in Academy terms, getting ready to start this race. It is a fairly long run down to turn number 1 here at Kyalami. So if you do get away poorly, you can be losing 3, 4, 5 positions. If you get it wrong, down into turn 1, you could lose even more, maybe even 6 or 7 positions. So it's anyone's guess how it's going to unfold as we do wait for those 5 red knights that we all know and crave to kickstart race number 1. 14 laps of Kyalami here at the GPVWC Academy round number 6 in 2026. Looks like there's going to be just a little bit of delay before we get ready to kick things off, maybe just waiting for somebody to fully get into their grid box. But now we do have our 5 red lights. The lights go out and we get underway for race number 1. Great start there from Rockwire from second. He's going to jump in front of Duval immediately before they get to the kink, and then going super defensive on the run down into Crowthorne. It's going to be 3 abreast nearly in the background. Rockwire's going to have the lead. Duval tries to switch back on the exit of turn number 1. Matchlick watching patiently as Rockwire Duval almost touching now on the run into Barbecue Bend, and now onto this almost back straight as it runs parallel to into the front stretch. Rockwide, Duval, Matchalik, Grimalitzi, McKinnon, your top 5. McKenna moving up into P6 as well. Good start for them. As off the road there goes Rockwise. He runs it over a curb. Few other drivers going off as well. Grimalitzi, he's going to try and go around the outside, but runs it deep, scrubs off too much speed, and that'll hold him up and allow Matchalik now back through to the inside as we've got multiple cars all trying to trip over each other in the S's. I believe that was McKenna that maybe had a huge moment. Indeed it was. No, McKenna somehow managing to save that thing. Does lock up the tyres though. They may be feeling a little bit warm underneath now after that half spin and presumably getting on the anchors, locking all 4 wheels, and now getting passed by Osama Kanani as well. So McKenna will try to go back on the attack around the GPVWC veteran. Looks to the inside on the run down into the Crocodile section, coming through the final couple of corners now as there's changes everywhere you look, as you'd expect in Academy. That is really, really brave there from Sukac to get through Klomp. At the end of lap 1 though, it is your pole sitter Duval. Didn't maintain that lead down into turn number 1, but leads us on into lap number 2 after a mistake from the fast starting Rockway. And already Duval with nearly a second's advantage over his opponent as well. If he can break away, break that so early doors, he could be sat in a very, very solid position. Bit of a crazy opening lap there then, Juho. Luckily nobody DNFs, a couple of near misses, but Rockway looked like he had that lead cemented until that little mistake.
Much more cleaner start than Sepang, honestly, and pretty much Rockway had the better launch, but I think he's now starting to catch up to Anthony Duval, and Anthony Duval has to really get up to speed as Rockway makes a mistake, as well as Duval, it seems like. But Rockway has lost a 10th only, and currently he is attacking the corners pretty aggressively. And now as we go through, what is it called, the loop up, and well, Rockway has a lot of chances here, but he has to minimize those mistakes, as we see Soroka as well in 6th place currently, and McKenna 3/10 back at the moment, and Kanani trying to find a way to attack McKenna, but McKenna is still pretty much ahead. So either way, it will be a pretty clean start, as Soroka is a bit more wider, didn't take the apex right, as McKenna is looking for a move, but realizes she doesn't have the overlap, so as Duval does the fastest lap of the race, and now it's pouncing on, and as we see from McKenna's on board, everything seems to be calm and cool, as Amir Al-Hafi is the one who's gone to the pit, so must be front wing damage for the Academy driver.
Certainly on board with Nova, has got past Kanani on that previous tour to regain up to 7th place. What I've seen from Nova so far does look good in that she's racing smart. Kyalami is very, very wide at some parts. Again, a lot of the circuit is very, very new. It was recently renovated back in 2015. And a lot of the track anyway, even historically, the track was known for being quite wide. So what that means in these smaller Academy cars that in the grand scheme of Formula racing, and especially in GPVWC racing, aren't particularly quick. You don't actually have to use all of the racetrack. It can actually be detrimental to do so and can cost you time. Yes, of course, your classic school of thought is basically run as wide as much as you can on the end of a corner to maximize your momentum, maximize the, or kind of minimize the loss of speed, should I say, through a corner. Not necessarily here at every corner at Kyalami. In fact, sometimes it's better to hang it a bit tight on corner exit, as we are watching this battle, which is currently raging on between Soroka and McKinnon for 5th place. They're not far away from Grimalitzi, Matchuluk and Rockway, as they're all fighting for position as well. And then again, right on the tail of these guys, McKenna, Kanani, Sukac as well. So really tight for the final top 10 positions. As that McKenna looking for a move outside, then dummies, or inside, then dummies outside, should I say, on the run down into what is the first corner proper. Can't find anything that down at Crawthorns, though. We'll have to kind of just slide back in, see if maybe can set something up into barbecue. But Soroka defensive into there. There is a bit of bump draft in there. We're getting stock car style here. It's going to hold up McKenna, though. McKenna squeezes Kanani to that inside wall there, the national layout pit wall. The Kanani, wow, look at the bravery from Asana, straight around the outside with the elbows. That is a fantastic move to get back into P7. McKenna not done yet though, looks to the outside, nearly a touch once again from the pink liveried car onto the green. But I think Kanani's just about going to get away with that one. That was a brilliant move round the outside at Sunset Bend. Of course, McKenna was held up as that Sukac getting it very wrong in the background and dropping places. I think he kept it somewhat straight. And yes, he did. He's still there, still on the attack behind Klomp. Tries to go the left-hand side down at Lukop, or Mineshaft, should I say. Now the inside at Crocodiles as Klomp locks up. That should be fairly easy. Indeed it is. So Sukac has just about got away with that one. Yeah, it's starting to get a bit chaotic here, especially in these battles on the back end of the top 5, top 10 even.
Yeah, it has started becoming a bit chaotic as well, but a fabulous move from Kanani as well. Very, very tidy, lined up perfectly as he now tries to make a move on Soroka as well, but he hasn't made a stick as well. Look at Kochetov and Klomp as well. They are battling for 9th position as well. Kochetov has a lot of speed as well, but he still runs a bit wide. He has to get a bit consistent on these corners. As look at Knani trying to overtake Soroka as well. As yeah, this looks to be a bit chaotic as Yellow's in sector 2. That's Grokwai off, as well as Soroka's off as well. Oh no!
That's in there. Oh, and there's somebody else involved in that as well. So it was Rokwai who went off.
Rokwai lost the front wing.
Yeah, Rokwai lost the front wing, and we're seeing there Soroka as well getting involved in a separate incident, it would appear. Clearly spinning his way onto the back straight. So Rokwai from second down to P11 now. As Soroka gets through, he will have to box for a new front wing. And I'm sure a fresh set of rubber as well is probably driving around on 50 pence pieces at the moment. But crazy stuff. Did he come together? Did he get it wrong? We'll get a replay here. What has happened to James Rockquay? So, and he's actually already lost his front wing there. That might, in fact, still be live potentially as he comes into Crocodiles. Yes, indeed, it is still live. We'll just have to backtrack, backpedal. So we can see here, this is him coming down the back end of the track. This is Amir Al-Hafi. So this is what happened to him in the opening laps. He did have to box. I mean, he came straight in, actually. Interesting. So he must have, although visually there's not a lot of damage, potentially a penalty. Jump start, maybe?
Yeah, drive through penalty. Yeah, so he lost only 7 seconds, basically, on that drive-through penalty, at which is Rockway, basically. Yeah, he went wide, and then, yeah, there you go. And bang, into the wall. And that's unfortunate for the British driver as well.
Yeah, lucky to only get away with a lost front wing as well. We do only run 75% damage here in the GPVWC Academy Series, just to enable a bit more, kind of barging and banging, I suppose. There are a couple of lower level assists that are allowed as well. You are allowed low traction control, low anti-lock brakes, as here's what's happened to Soroka. Again, mirror picture, just caught on the curb. Almost took out McKenna, I want to say that was as well. Lucky to get away with that one. But yeah, real shame there for Rockway. A very simple mistake, similar for Soroka, although he, of course, came off a lot better, was lucky not to get collected, but does still have 4 wheels and 2 wings on the wagon, and he can continue around. Rockway has now DNF'd from this opening race on lap 6 of 14, so he'll have to wait a little while before we get going in race number 2, but that, of course, then stacks up the odds against him massively. Race leader Deval, 1.6, nearly 1.7 is his advantage over Matuluk. Grimalitzi, though, not far away at all from Matuluk in P2. We could have a battle regarding the final 2 podium places on our hands very, very shortly here. Less than half a second between them as it currently stands, making their way through Barbecue Bend and onto this back straight. And let's see if Grimalitzi is able to maybe capitalise, reel him in, put some pressure on the driver in front as well. Of course, that's the easiest way to overtake a driver, is just fill the mirrors and make them make a mistake because they can't handle the fact that you're right there on their gearbox. They run wide, you slide through. Thank you very much. Bob's your uncle. That's a free position. but I think a little bit too far back to be properly filling the mirrors right now for Francesco. Again, gap is fluctuating between 4 and 6/10 of a second as it stands, as we are about to hit halfway in this race as we hit the timing beam next tour around. But looking back with Matulik, again, you can see maybe starting to apply a bit more pace. Duval, again, not a worry in the world. He's 1.7 clear now at the front of the pack. And then behind Grimilizzi, should I say, 4 seconds back to Matthew McKinnon in P4. He himself has a 2.5 second gap back to Kanani, who himself has a 2.5 second back to Nova McKenna. Those guys were all running really, really tight together, but it all got a bit messy when they all started spinning round a couple of laps ago and all starting meeting the curbs in ways that R Factor 2 curbs don't particularly enjoy, shall we say. Halfway through this race then, lap 8 of 14 we go on to. It is still Duval from Matulik from Grimilizzi, your top 3. And right now, I don't think, Juho, that Grimilizzi quite has enough pace to really catch up to the back of Matulik. He's definitely quicker through sector number 3, but I just don't think he's quite close enough at the moment, as it looks like McKenna and Klomp, or should I say Sukac, now coming together. McKenna's dropped a place back to the inside at Barbecue Bend, side by side onto the back straight, and will get the overspeed out of that one, as that has cost Kochitov Sukac time. So McKenna gets away with that one for the time being. As I was saying, though, everybody outside of this battle kind of in a bit of no man's land, running their own race. We're just waiting for the tyres maybe to start dropping off, for the fatigue to set in, and a few mistakes to happen.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, some people are currently being a bit of social butterflies on track at the moment. But either way, I think at some point we will have a bit of racing action, as we already see. So McKenna's up to 6th place, and the Sukac has to so for 7th at the moment, and the Klomp currently quite close at the moment, as I see from the timing sheets as well. Matulik is actually getting closer to Duval as well. So very tidy laps from Lucas Matulik as well, and yeah. As I see, 3/10 faster in the last lap for Lucas Matulik, as Sukac has got it very wrong and collided, but keeps the car straight at least. So very scruffy exit, and that's cost him a lot. So he's down to P9. Further ahead on the road, Duval has actually gone slower than Matulik. So Matulik is actually putting the pressure on now, as Grimilizzi as well joining the fight as well for P1 as well. I mean, to be fair, Matulik seems to be the fastest man on track at the moment. Yeah, he has the fastest lap of 1:31.324, and Duval's last lap also was 3/10 slower than Matulik. So, Ross, we might see a battle for the win, a 3-way fight for the victory here.
We'll have to wait and see. It's certainly getting tantalisingly close between our front 3 on lap 9 of 14, soon to be 10, as they come down to the final sector here. And let's see, it looks a little bit slow through there from Duval. I wonder if he's used a little bit too much tyre. And now we're starting to conserve. Now we're starting to think, okay, I just need to sit back for a moment to ensure we're not struggling come the end of the race, as we are on board with Matulik, who again doesn't have a huge gap back to Grimilizzi. 5 laps left in this contest, the opening race of the evening, and look at the run that Matulik's got as he's in the tow, ducks outside, then in, then back into the tow, decides that it's not worth it on that occasion, a little bit too far back, but just goes to show how powerful the slipstream can be in these GPVWC Academy cars, and how powerful a good exit can be as well. Watch this here on the run towards Sunset Bend. Matulik's going to switch to the inside. Oh, this is brilliant racing we're seeing here, and getting as tired as you like, and all the while Grimilizzi is getting the best seat in the house and thinking, oh, what if these two crash into each other? And then I can just slide on by. Matulik has dropped back now a little bit following that chaos on the run into Sunset Bend. He'll have to rest, recuperate, regroup and go again. As we're now on our run out of the S's into Loikop, the double apex hairpin down the bottom end of the circuit. Technically turns 10 and 11 are considered as 2 turns, even though, as you can clearly see, it's a double apex hairpin. Come on, guys, let's sort it out. It's okay if you have 1 corner less than you want to have out there on your racetrack, but it was all about that run for those guys, especially Matulik out of the final corner at Ingve, as we're now following round Klomp, who's works his way up into P6, ahead of Nova McKenna and Rietberg. Kochtov, Sukaf, or Sukach, should I say, also there after that spin, and Soroka is not far behind them at all. So this battle still raging on for P6. McKenna there in P7. He's been having a bit of a topsy-turvy race, but has always maintained around about 6th place, 7th place. So he's continued to do well as off the road there. Runs Sukach in the background. Bit of a lock-up then from Rietberg as well. And he's going to get muscled out wide as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. And it could be that Matulik and Deval are going side by side into Sector 2. And that's because they are. Matulik to the inside. Can't quite get it. The overspeed from Deval. That's going to now allow Grimalitzi up into 2nd place. Surely on the run into Sunset Bend. Indeed it will. He slides up the inside. Not quite confirmed. Now it is as Matulik tried to hang it round the outside. This is brilliant racing, Juho, between our top 3. You said we were going to get a fight for the lead, and it turns out you were right. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from the top 3, and they are surviving this. And look at Osama Knani as well, looking to benefit from 4th position to try to battle out. And look at this, it's a battle between Kulin and Lorenzo Etenovic-Funcic as well, and very, very tidy between those purple cars. As I say that, according to his curse, it is not tidy from Lorenzo. But look at Grimalitzi, he's gonna go side by side between Antti Deval, and Antti Deval has to defend for his life. He goes wide into Cheetah, now going through Ingwe, and look at Matulik, because he has a better exit. It seems like Grimalitzi has a better exit, but now it's a fight for a 3-way battle for the lead. And look at Grimalitzi going to the inside, and there's contact between the two, and Grimalitzi has come off worse from all of this, and Matulik now is the lone wolf at this, and will take the position from Deval as Deval goes wide. And yeah, we've seen a great battle, but the great battle comes to an end as also McKenna has to pit as well for damage, I think. But amazing stuff from these 3, but unfortunately, well, it was contact between Grimalitzi as well, and Deval is very squirrely on those chicanes as well. And Ross, we've seen a great battle, and now Matulik is in the lead.
Well, it's not necessarily done yet, Juho. Still time for things to change. We'll get a replay of what has happened between the 3 of them. Grimalitzi goes to the inside and just converges on the line. It's a racing incident. And does well to hold the brakes as well. Does well that no one was there when he went across the track to collect him, I suppose. But yeah, just converged there with Deval, who I guess he thought he was maybe a bit clear. Here's what happened to Nova McKenna, who dived straight into the pit lane.
It's a penalty, I think. Yeah. I think it's a penalty for track limits. So that's why she had to pit as well, as we see a replay from Nathaniel Dance as well. And looks like everything's okay, except it's not a kick of oversteer, and he goes off to the gravel trap as well, as we see Nova McKenna P15 currently, and she has it. Oh my goodness gracious! And and that's the tire gone, and that's her race over as well. So very unfortunate for Nova McKenna. Pushed so much on that after the pit lane, and now she is out, and well, she will get the reverse grip proposition, it seems like.
Yeah, but still, big shame there for Nova McKenna. That was a big hit into the wall as well. Of course, not really what you want to be seeing, but like you said, just pushing a bit too hard on the way out of the pit lane after having to serve that penalty. Unfortunately, we are not far away now from our final lap. Matchlick is now 1.9 to the good up the front after that chaos. Deval second, Grimalitzi still P3, still there or thereabouts, as there is a lockup in front of this group that we're watching now. We're following Soroka behind Kochikov, Sukac, and then Rietberg in the orange car we just saw up in front having a big, I think it was a double lockup, in fact, on the run into the S's. But Soroka thinking about potentially trying to line up a move on the way down into what is a proper turn number one at Yngve. Not Yngve, should I say, the proper turn number one down at Crowthorns. But as I say that, he's going to get his money paid from, he's going to get through anyway on the run through Crocodiles. So what do I know about motorsport? Clearly absolutely nothing. Soroka up into second place. We'll get the DRS potentially as well, so could still be having a look at the run down into Crowthorns. But I think maybe too far back, maybe Sukac fancies a go as well. And it looks like Soroka doesn't get the DRS. Is Sukac feeling brave on the brakes down into turn number 2? Not quite. We are on the final lap of this contest. Deval looks to encounter problems. He's now barely ahead of Grimalitzi. Matchlick's got 3 seconds to the good. There is Grimalitzi, in fact, and Deval. They're just making their way, what looks to be out of Clubhouse and into the S's. Yes, it is. So Matchlick, pending a disaster, he's got this race all sewn up. He's going to be lifting the trophy at the end of this one. But is there going to be a change for the final 2 podium places? Is it a problem for Deval? Because he looks right off the pace, and he looks like he is really, really struggling on the run out of Loikop and towards Mineshaft we fly for the final time in the opening race of the evening. Grimalitzi's going to try and go the long way around. Deval shuts the door. Is there an opportunity into Crocodiles? The inside is slightly open. It's going to have to be a last-minute maneuver. Final hope or final prayer on the run out of Cheetah. Down into Yngve, the final corner. Is it there for Grimalitzi? We'll wait to find out. It will be Lucas Matchlick that wins this race. And it looks like Anthony Deval is just going to hold on to second place at the checkered flag from Francesco Grimalitzi. Osama Kanani at the end of all of that chaos does bring it home a very, very solid P4. But what a crazy fight we had for that lead in the latter phases as the rest of the drivers bringing it home, hopefully all in one piece as well. It is Lucas Matchlick that after that collision between Grimalitzi and Deval was able to slide through and was able to get away with the win. And a great drive from him, it must be said. As we just wait for the rest of our finishers to bring it on home, there we see Dance coming home, P10. Coulon brings it home at 11. Davide Maggio on his, what I believe is his first GPVWC race. Correct me if I'm wrong. He brings it home P12. Really respectable result there for him. Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic, P13. McKinnon, our 14th and final runner. But what a fantastic race that was, Juho, between, yes, some of our other drivers, but especially towards the end, our front 3. Got a little bit chaotic, unfortunately, but still really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, very enjoyable race, and welcome to GPVWC to Lucas Matchlick. His first win on his first appearance, and in his first race as well. So congratulations to him as well. And Grimalitzi, a fantastic third, even though with that spin, still catched up to Deval and nearly got P2. So a very great performance from the top 3, honestly. And Kanani, welcome back, and he takes P4.
He does indeed. Wow, what a crazy opening race of the evening for you. There is somebody that looks to be Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic. Hasn't actually quite finished the race yet, I don't think. I don't think he's made it to the line, but is still P13. He's had an incident coming into Yngve, the final. No, that's not Yngve. No, he has finished the race. It's just having a moment. That's actually on the run into Barbecue Bend, I want to say. Let's have a little run through our finishes for you in that one. To wrap up our 14th lap opening race of the evening, it was, of course, Lucas Matchlick taking his first win in GPVWC Academy after a bit of chaos with Anthony Deval finishing second. Grimalitzi, after nearly taking out Deval, finishing in P3. Osama Kanani was 4th, with Jamie Klomp P5, Martin Rietberg was P6, Sergei Soroka 7th, Savale Kochikov Sukac in P8, Georgios Davarkos in P9, and Nathaniel Dance finishing and rounding out our top 10. And we had 14 more finishes following that one. In Timo Coulon, P11, Davide Maggio in P12, Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic 13th, and Matthew McKinnon in P14th. Unfortunately, we lost 3 in the forms of Nova McKenna, Amir Ahafi, and James Rockwhite. who unfortunately was looking like he was going to be in the fight for the lead early doors, but had problems, had a spin, and went down and out after having to come back through the pit lane. So only the 3 DNFs in that one. Should be Nova McKenna starting from pole position for race number 2. So that'll be interesting. And again, when you think of all of the guys who are quick in race number 1, James Rockwell is going to be starting in similar positions to them. So he could definitely work his way back through and hopefully get a good result at least.
Yeah, for sure. As James actually has got a top 4 in FS2, so I think honestly James can do something around this track and as well in GPVWC Academy. So I think honestly James has a chance to, well, what looks to be for a really fun race too as well, and he might get a chance to go to the podium positions if he is consistent as well. But yeah, stay tuned for race 2, and yeah, GPV has something to tell you.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break here in the commentary box as we get ready for race number 2. It'll be about 10 minutes time, but make sure you stick around for when we get going once again for our reverse grid second race of 14 laps this evening. Take care. We'll see you in a bit.
Inside a place of... On the next deck... Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no! Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen. Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this was a carnage.
And Menocon's
Oh
gonna
my
win.
It's a double pass! Could they take each other off? They don't! And flag slide! It's a victory for the Tuties!
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's gonna get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh my goodness. The Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Welcome back, everybody, to race number 2 here at this 6th round of GPVWC Academy Series here at Kyalami. A fantastic race number 1. And now we're all ready to go again for another 14 laps around this place. We're just waiting for the grids to be sorted out by the looks of things, and then we'll jump straight into our racing action. But of course, as it was moments ago, before we left you, it is Amir Oates on the broadcast side of things with myself, Ross McIntyre, Juho Sopanen alongside me in the commentary box. And yeah, really interesting race number 1 there, Juho. A little bit chaotic. We had some incidents, as you come to expect in Academy, but some really, really good driving as well. Now, of course, the grid's all shaken up. It's all moved around a little bit. So we now have the guys who are very, very quick in race number 1, and you'd expect to be the fastest side of things. They've got to work their way through the field. So this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it seems like, well, what I've heard is that Duval had crabbing, so that's why he was slow. So yeah, as you can see now, the race session is actually starting up, and also, well, looking at this, it will be a very fun race too, because we've got now Matthew McKinnon on pole position.
We do indeed. Again, we'll just wait for everybody to sort themselves out into their correct slot before we can get going through the grid. But of course, we're here for GPVWC Academy, race number 2, 14 laps coming your way. Perfect timing then as we get going on our green flag formation lap. Let us run you through our grid coming into the second race. Of course, bit of reverse grid magic for you. It's all a little bit shaken up, and it should mean some very, very exciting racing indeed. So let's run it for you then, and let's have a look at what we have in store for this one. It is Matthew McKinnon on pole, Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic alongside Davide Maggio and Timo Kulan make up the second row of the grid. Then moving on, just behind them, we have Nathaniel Dance. He's alongside Georgios Devakos, and it's Savelli, Kochikov, Sukac, and he's alongside Sergei Soroka for row number 4. Rounding out our top 10, it is Martin Rietberg and Jamie Klomp. They are followed by Osama Kanani and Francesco Grimotlici coming in P12. And they are followed by Anthony Duval and Lucas Machulik. So that's where the reverse grid was from P14. And then our 3 DNFers in the form of Nova McKenna P15, Amir Al-Hafi in 16th, and then our Lone Ranger on row number 9. It is James Rockway. Again, though, not the end of the world for him because he was very quick, started from 2nd, of course, in race number 1. And is down at the back, but with others around him in that reverse grid race. So even though he's 17th instead of 15th, 14th, 13th, whatever, still with a good opportunity to work his way through the field. Of course, Juho Sopanen, reverse grid racing, it always gets a little bit interesting, and it's always a bit chaotic, but I think that's why it's so fun.
Yeah, that's always why it's so fun, because in reverse grid, it's always going to be chaos. And also, people have to try to make up positions as well. But either way, let's hope there's not going to be massive amounts of chaos, as Rockwise will be the last one to line up in the grid as well. And James Rockway, we've seen him do really great performances in the past. Let's see what he can do today. As now, we let the grid sort this out and let battle commence for race 2.
Looks like a little issue there for Rockway. Just had to back it up slightly. Maybe went for the wrong side of the grid, but he's in position now. Race number 2. 5 red lights, and we are go here at Kyalami. Looks like a really strong launch there from McKinnon, but once again, on the inside, it looks to be the better line, the better getaway, as all of the drivers making their way through. Etrovic-Funcic looking to the inside. Does he get that lead? Lorenzo tries to squeeze out the pole sitter and does so. Nice stuff from Etrovic-Funcic. The Varkos couldn't follow him through, neither could Kulan. So McKinnon drops down into 2nd place as there's a spinner contact in the background. That is Nathaniel Dance, I want to say, he's going backwards. Oh, it's chaos. It is absolute chaos with 4 abreast on our way down the back straight. Oh, and here we go. This is going to be a chaos here. Who was that went round? It looked like Sukac, I believe. Someone was out of front wing. It is Davide Maggio. Somebody else was also involved and was without a front wing out of that one. Oh, I'm amazed there's not more drivers that got involved in that one, to be brutally honest. That could have been an absolute airplane crash as we're going through. As we are racing onwards, here is Duval in, of course, all the battle for what was our race lead last time. Duval getting into contact with Nathaniel Dance. Grimilitzi just behind them as well. Machulik is just in front of this group here. Grimilitzi getting into that toe. Thinks about going the long way around through turn number 12 at Mineshaft. Can't quite find it. Oh, contact as Dance locked it all up and got sideways. Grimilitzi had nowhere to go. Is there damage to that GPVWC Academy car? It doesn't immediately seem it, but it was a big whack. Front wheel to sidepod. Dance then runs it deep. Grimilitzi will slide on through and get 8th place. At the end of lap number 2, we've got a driver round coming onto the front straight. Was that Soroka potentially that's dropping places? Al-Hafi's made his way into the pits. There's Rockway getting into a fight, trying to get his way into the top 10. Sod that, make it the top 9 as he gets 2 done in one corner. Lovely move by James Rockway there. This is a crazy, crazy start to race number 2 here. As Osama Kanani's now trying to not to trip up Machulik as well. McKinnon's got 4 seconds advantage over Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic up the front of the pack. Somebody's sideways just in front of these guys. Looks like it was Devakos. This is crazy stuff, Juho.
Yeah, this is crazy stuff, and as everybody's still going sideways, but still keeping it going. But either way, Devakos is having to defend from Kanani as well. What can Kanani do into Lukop as well. Now we go through Lukop, and Knani makes the move. Does he get it? Does he make it stick? He's off. He's wide into the gravel trap, and that allows Devakos to, well, for a moment to breathe. But at the moment, it's Deval trying to make the move down the inside. He goes on Devakos, but Devakos really strong exit from the Greek driver as well. Really strong stuff, and Deval is gonna go, and he pushes Devakos off the track. But crazy stuff in the opening few laps as Rockwai gets up to 7th place. And wow, we're gonna still see a lot of battles going on here as Sukachi is looking at the battle ahead. It's Rockwai versus Kirimalitsi, and Rockwai still keeping it behind, and we get a nose cam for a moment as well as McKenna has gone past Knani as well, and now Funches is under pressure from Deval as McKenna's sideways. What is going on here, ladies and gentlemen, as Deval is going round the outside? He makes his stick. Fabulous move. A really great bravery. And Funches...
Lorenzo!
Lorenzo's having a moment as well, as Machulik now goes up to P3, or does he? Lorenzo attacks, but Machulik is still side by side with him. Now, it is all to play here into Lukov as well, as Lorenzo goes down the inside. No, he doesn't. It looked like he was going to go down the inside, as Devakos now just looking to pass Lorenzo, going through the long left-hander, the fast long left-hander, and now it's all to play here as Lorenzo seems to have locked up, and yeah, he's gone off. I don't know what is going on, but everything seems to be going on every time in race 2 as Lorenzo pushes off Reitberg as well, and Knani benefits from all of that as well, and then Reitberg says, have a bit of that to Lorenzo Eterovic Funcic. And there you go, everything's sorted out. And Kunin and Sukachi still fighting for position here.
Oh, let's all just take a deep breath, shall we? That was pretty chaotic, as I think Lorenzo may have had another off. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1, and he's dropping down the order. We're currently following Grimalitzi around. We have lost Nova McKenna, unfortunately, from this race, so that's 2 DNFs this evening, unfortunately for her. Lorenzo will continue to push onwards, I think, after what appeared to be a spin down at turn number 1. Grimalitzi, he's got a bit of time back to him between himself and Devakos and Rockwai. Rockwai works his way through, now up into P5, though, and can maybe try and focus his attentions forward. Machulik is 3rd. Deval in 2nd place. Up in front, though, is still Matthew McKinnon. Last time, it was a fastest lap last time from Deval in P2, 131.7 compared to Matthew McKinnon's 132.3, but that gap has actually grown over this lap, so it's up to around about 6 seconds now. So I'm not really sure if he's matching the pacing. It continues to grow, now 6.2, as they're going to be coming to the line very, very shortly. Matthew McKinnon's in a very, very comfortable position here as we start to approach half distance in this race. And again, the gap's going to come down slightly. It's going to be about 5.7, I think, at the line. Should be about that. Yeah, will be about that. But still, that's a very, very big gap. And in fact, on that lap, that was actually ever so slightly slower. So we're talking minimal distances here. But yeah, Matthew McKinnon sitting very pretty at the moment here in GPVWC Academy, and doesn't really have anybody around him to put any sort of pressure on. The nearest battle we've got out on track is P5 between Rockwai and Devakos. Devakos also trying to hold off Kochakov Sukac. As I say that, Sukac sticks it up the inside and gets it done. Lovely move up the inside there into Sunset Bend. There was a yellow flag out. We've also lost Al Hafi, but he did box. Wonder if that was for him. Potentially he had another off as well. We've seen Davide Maggio have his incident have to come into... Well, he hasn't come into the pit lane. He's down in 15 in front of him. Lorenzo Enterovic Funcic, who was running up the front, did lead this race a little bit on the early lap, and then, of course, just got up into those incidents. Unfortunately for Lorenzo, yellow flag still waving, and that could be for Lorenzo, as I say that, because he's just dropped a whole chunk of time once again. So a big shame for him there. as he'll continue to push onwards. Here is Soroka, seeing if he can find his way past Kulan. Kulan locks up big time there, coming into Crocodiles. And looks like he'll be awarding that position, that P10 to Sergey, with little question, little real effort to try and keep him behind after he made that mistake. So Soroka up into P10 as we head on to lap number 6 of 14 here in race number 2 of GPVWC Academy this evening. Hope you're enjoying the show wherever you are watching around the world. If this is your first time watching GPVWC, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Go to the Discord and the website links in the description to find out more on how we operate. Here is what happened to Etrovic Funcic as did he get caught up by the curb potentially? Oh, that, yeah. Unsettled the car and then got on the brake, and it was kind of sideways. I don't know if a brake grabbed potentially. Really, really bizarre incident. Really unfortunate for him. Here's what happened to Nova McKenna as well. This is coming down towards Loikop down the bottom of the circuit. Alt locks for both front brakes, gets the overspeed, and I'm going to assume beaches it on the gravel. In fact, doesn't even wait to see if it was beached. She straight away escapes back to the pits and then calls it a day there. Real shame for him. What about Amir Al-Hafi? That's him working his way up towards Crocodiles, running very aggressive on the curb, yet will have caught the curb, bit too much speed, overcorrects, brings it to a hole, and I'm going to assume called it a day there as well. Or does he get going again? No, looks like he's struggling to get going again, actually. So I wonder if he stalled it or there was a problem getting the car going. And that's what led to the DNF there, because it looked like he wanted to try and keep it going. Here's a replay of Grimmelitzi on the opening lap, making his way. That's coming down through barbecue, and that was the chaos that we saw on the opening lap with half the skrid running off the road and no front wing for a person somewhere and things like that. So Soroka ended up going big time backwards. There was the chaos up in front as well. So it was all a bit of a mess. Then, so it was Al-Hafi that didn't have the front wing after that. So he, I'm assuming, just had nowhere to go on the way out of Barbecue Bend. So we see him coming in, gap opens to the inside there, and then he gets going again. All looks to be fine so far. And does he just collect somebody, or is there an incident that he can't really avoid? Just can't really avoid that. That's a real shame for Al-Hafi. Nothing he could do as he was fully on the brakes and locked up. And a real shame for him, so that's why he had to box and was down the back. And again, slightly more understandable as to why he decided to call it a day when he did. Got another replay from him as well, a little bit further on. No, we're going to go back to live, so that was just a bit further around. Lap 7 of 14 then. McKinnon still leads by 5.7 from Duval. Matchlick now within a second of Duval up in front. Grimmelitzi still chasing them down, but McKinnon is sitting very, very pretty at the moment, Juho. Looks like there's no real issues for him whatsoever. He's just hitting his marks and driving away.
He's banking really great lap times here, Ross, as his last lap was a 1:31.7, 4 tenths faster than Anthony Duval. And Duval is actually going to be under pressure with Machulik, because Machulik's 6 tenths faster than him, and Grimmelitzi is on the fastest lap of a 1:31.4, actually. As everything seems to be tidying up a little bit, and no more chaos, except we might have a battle here for second place here, as Grimmelitzi does another fastest lap, a 1:31.3 this time around.
Yeah, starting to push is Grimmelitzi. Still that gap in front of him, though, around about 1.7 seconds as it stands. So still a bit of time to do. We are over halfway through this race now, so still time left to go, but it's starting to tick away, starting to get smaller and smaller is that time frame. As we're looking back from Duval to Machulik, and that is looking back as he goes over the grass as well. A big mistake on the exit of Sunset Bend. And that is potentially the invitation that Lucas Machulik needs to try and start thinking about making a move, because Duval is clearly struggling with the pressure. A small mistake with big consequences. He's dropped a lot of time. So now Machulik can really start to pile it on, can really start to push on and see if there is a way through. But right now, he's going to be too far back. Right now, not going to be able to find anything on the way through Mineshaft, certainly, and on the run up into Crocodiles. But still, that pressure being put on there, put on Anthony Duval, it is key, because that shows he's already made one mistake. He'll now be thinking about trying not to make another mistake, which is going to cost him time and could lead him to make another mistake. Machulik doesn't really have to do anything. Does run it a bit deep, though, coming through Ingve, so that will offer time to Duval, even though Machulik will have the DRS and will get away with it. And maybe even will be close enough maybe for a look into No, definitely not close enough for a look on this occasion anyway. But, again, still putting that pressure on. Lap 9 of 14, and pending a disaster, Matthew McKinnon is going to win this race. Although the time is now starting to drop as Duval and Machulik start to push each other. So maybe, just maybe, if he makes a mistake here, Lucas, or Juho, should I say, we could see Lucas and Anthony and Francesco catching up to the back of him. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna have another three-way battle for second place for sure. Like last race, it's the same people that might be battling for the runner-up spot as well, and of course, Grimalitsy blasting his lap times into oblivion, basically. Fastest in first sector, by the way, and at the moment, looks like McKinnon is doing a bit of mistakes as well. Seems like he's losing a lot, many laps in a row. But wait, that might be just me, as Osama Nani now goes up to 6th place, as Savelli is now trying to do a re-attack here on Osama, but he thinks better of it and stays smart on this one. And now Osama has to really play it smart here, as we are approaching to lap 10 of this race as well. And look at the amount of positions that Duval, Machulik and Rockwai have gained as well. Rockwai is the biggest benefit of all of this. So really keen to see what's going to happen now, as Savelli does a great move. Does he make it stick? No, he doesn't. It could have been a great move round the outside. Now Georgios Davakos is going to go down the inside. A bit of contact there, and yeah, well, Savelli's still we're going 3 wide into sunset, and it's going to be a pretty tiny one, but I think everyone's decided, yeah, we're going to go single file. It's not worth the risk, as we see Davide Maggio as well trying to battle with Lorenzo. Now we're back to Soroka, Davakos and Sakachi as well. As look at Soroka looking for a move now. Is it time to pounce? No, it isn't. Thinks better of it into Lukop as well. And well, looking at this, Davakos is still pretty safe. As I say that, because Machulik is actually gaining on Duval very much, and they might have a battle in like a lap's time if Duval makes a mistake. As well, Soroka is still looking for a move, but there is no way of getting through. Davakos seems to be a moving wall, as Lorenzo's in the wall.
Oh, what a shame for Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic. Another incident in this second race of the evening. A race that showed so much promise. I know how much work he'd put into tonight. I know how confident he was. But unfortunately, that's not how racing works. Sometimes Lady Luck does not shine your way and the racing gods throw you a curveball. And it's yet another incident for Lorenzo, unfortunately. And he will still try and continue and finish this race, I'm sure, but a real shame up at the front. This battle raging on still, not quite, well, not really a battle. They've all still just been following each other for a bit. No one's really tried to make a move yet between the likes of Duval and Machulik. Grimalitsy right there as well. But we're on lap 11 of 14, starting to get towards crunch time. So I doubt it'll be particularly long until people do start thinking about making moves. Grimalitsy is too far back to try anything at the moment. It's very much going to have to be Machulik on Duval, and with a good exit out of Cheetahs and Ingve with that DRS down the front straight, he could be in for the run into turn 2. We'll follow on board with Grimalitsy for the time being as this group gets ready to head onto lap 12 of 14 in this second race, this secondary contest of the evening. And follow along, watch Machulik with that DRS. Where does he pull? To the outside or the inside? Or is he in fact too far back? I think he is too far back. He's going to leave it late to look to the inside. Slightly locks up the outside front. And we'll have to sit there and not really do anything about it. Unfortunately, no opportunity there for him. Too far back for the run on Duval. as they come through Barbecue and onto the back straight. Is there anything here? Maybe. Into Sunset Bend. I don't think there is going to be. Still not close enough for Matchlick. Duval will hold on. Up in front, that gap between themselves and McKinnon down to 3.5. But again, I don't think that pending a mistake, they've got enough time left. I think that McKinnon is going to hold on and take home a very, very easy race win. He's basically had, well, since lap 2, essentially had a huge advantage. And although it's been slowly and slowly chipped away, I don't think anybody really has been really trying to try anything, I suppose. But we'll continue onwards anyway. Can you see anything happening, Juho, or do you think these guys are just locked in at status quo?
Currently, they are locked in status quo at the moment, so Duval is really just focusing on catching up to McKinnon, but it seems to be that time is running out slowly, and it seems like Duval's got only second position to worry about, and Machulik really scruffy exit there on the cheetah corner, and now Grimmelitzi might actually benefit from all of this. Now he's gonna look for a chance where he can make a move, as Rockwell does the fastest lap, but Grimmelitzi still stays smart and still stays sharp. Basically, a cool head would win this battle out. Basically.
Well, it's all good being cool and calm, but you've got to find your way through as well. Got to have the pace or the opportunity to work your way around. And right now, that's not an opportunity that is surfacing for Grimmelitzi. Meanwhile, in the battle for the back end of the top 10, we see Kuhn holding off Klomp and Rietberg. Rietberg, who's had a pretty quiet race so far in this race number 2. I'm sure he'd love to squeeze his way into the top 10 in these final couple of laps, but we'll wait to see if that opportunity is going to arrive. Again, there are overtaking opportunities here at Kyalami. It is very, very wide around this racetrack, but again, you've got to try and work your way through. That's the part of the plan, is you've got to find your way. You've got to find the positioning where you can get through, else you're going to be kind of stuck doing your own thing. Back on board with Lorenzo Echerovich-Funcic. Is that him being about to be lapped potentially behind? I'm going to assume so. That could well be our fight of 3 for second place as Davide Maggio finds his way off the road. And there is Lorenzo. Yes, he is. So he's just in front and now getting out of the way of this fight for P2 as we do head onto the final tour of this race, and indeed the final tour of the evening here at Kyalami. Lorenzo could be getting in the way and upsetting the apple cart just a little bit, but I'm sure he'll show good sportsmanship to get out of the way. Let's go on board with second place, Anthony Duval. 2.8 seconds now is the gap between him and the race leader, continuing to find pace, but continuing to not quite be close enough. Lorenzo now gets out of the way. Matchlick, though, is right there with Duval. Is Grimmelitzi going to be able to get through as well, as Lorenzo has to almost go off the racetrack to get the space to allow those drivers through? Still nothing. Still this stalemate between these 3 for the final 2 podium places. Duval, Matchlick, Grimmelitzi. It's a similar story to what we saw in race number 1 as we got a yellow flag out in sector number 2. But it's gone as quickly as it arrived, coming to the top end of the circuit now, flying their way through turns 10 of Louis-Cop and then 11, even though it's all technically the same corner. Fight me in the comments if you want to. I'm right and you're wrong. And Duval now under a bit of pressure. Matchlick, this could be the best opportunity he's got. A good run out of Mineshaft. He'll pull to the inside for Crocodiles, but breaks too early. There we see Duval locking up, but I think he's just about going to get away with it. Time is running out for this final podium places battle. Heading through Cheetahs and on the run into Ingve for the final time. It will be Matthew McKinnon that's going to take a very easy race victory in race number 2. Anthony Duval is going to hold on to second by the skin of his teeth. Lucas Matchlick is going to hold on to third by the skin of his teeth. And it will be Grimmelitzi who comes up short in P4 by the skin of his teeth. Soroka getting into contact there with Devarkos in their fight for the line. I think that Soroka's going to get it by about half a car length. And indeed he does. That's as close as you want. It's close between these guys as well. As Klomp drops down to 11th place. There's a car in the wall there. What on earth was that about? Somebody's crashed right after the start-finish line. That's a dangerous place to be throwing it off the road. As Lorenzo, who has damage, so I think he's been off again. So that'll be him crawling it home in P15. I know that you're obviously, a lot of people like to throw it into the wall, but you are supposed to get to the safe zone as per the regulations after a race. So maybe some penalties being applied there. Who knows? Here's what happened to Lorenzo. So we let those guys through, and it all just got caught by the curb again. And again, big whack into the inside wall. A big look there for Lorenzo. And wow, your heart has to go out to him. It's really not been his day this evening, has it? And what could have been a fantastic stellar weekend as he ended up doing donut after donut in the gravel trap, trying to get it pointed in the right direction as well, just to rub salt into the wound. Yeah, it was a very promising opportunity for Lorenzo this evening. It ultimately came up to very little, and a real shame for him. But at the end of that one, it is Matthew McKinnon that takes a very, very easy race victory with a fantastic performance, and got a bit of assistance off the start, bolted away, and then never really looked back. It is McKinnon that takes the race win from Anthony Duval in P2 and Lucas Machulik in P3. Francesco Grimolizzi misses out just in P4. James Rockway, great recovery into P5, shows what he could have done had he not DNF'd in race number 1, starting second on the grid. He's followed by Sama Kanani, Zaveli Kochikov, Sukac, Sergei Soroka, Georgios Stavrakos, and Timo Kulin rounding out your top 10. Elsewhere, we've got Jamie Klomp, Martin Reitberg, Nathaniel Dance, Davide Maggio, who got in the wars a little bit in that one, unfortunately. Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic, who, as we've seen, just having a rotten evening, unfortunately. And then we did lose Amir Al-Hafi and Nova McKenna fairly early on. So only the 2 retirements in that second race of the evening. But still, Juho, a fantastic race and lots of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun as well during this race. And obviously, Kyalami has delivered something. So well done, Kyalami. And it's been more cleaner in these race 1 and 2. Of course, there was chaos in lap 1 in, race 2. But all apart from that, it seems like it was more cleaner than before. So big up for the driving standards as well. So everybody can pat their shoulder as well, and there you go. Either way, McKinnon takes a brilliant victory, a devastating performance to destroy the opposition, basically. So Duval gets second either way, and as we see from the calendar, next up will be Aragon. What do you think about that, Ross?
Very excited. I think it's a great track. I think it's a track that's going to offer a lot of fun for GPVWC Academy. It's a challenging circuit, especially for drivers that are maybe newer to sim racing. It's, of course, a circuit that in the four-wheel motorsport world perhaps isn't as well known as others, especially certainly within Spain, should I say. Of course, your likes of your Barcelonas, your Jerez, all of those. Obviously, we've got the Madrid ring now as well, which, of course, we all need to somewhat learn at some point, I'm sure, because of reasons. So, yeah, it's a circuit that I don't think will be as well known, but it's really, really challenging, especially at the top end of the circuit when you get to the top of the hill and start coming back down. And I think it'll be a lot of fun for our drivers. Of course, that's not the only race we've got coming up. Elsewhere in the Academy Series, we've got on the 15th of June, heading to Imola, then to Brands Hatch on the 29th of June. We're heading to Zandvoort on the 13th of July, Hockenheim on the 27th of July, and on the 10th of August, we are heading to Tor Poznan. That should be a lot of fun. We do now have a couple of drivers waiting for an interview. We'll first speak to our Race 2 winner at the end of that one in the form of Matthew McKinnon. Matthew, if you can hear us, well, that was a pretty quiet Race 2 for you there at the end of that one, but still a well-deserved win. Talk us through it.
I just did what my FS1 driver would do and just go one pace and one pace only.
Well, it seemed to work for you at least. Again, a really solid result for you out there. And some good driving and a decent enough race in race number 1 as well. So are you at least happy with yourself this evening?
I mean, I think I'd be less angry than Lorenzo, who parked the bus first 2 laps. That man was 3 seconds slower than me a lap and parked it, which gave me the win.
But, you know, you can still be somewhat happy with your own driving abilities, at least. You know, you went out there and put in a solid result and got the win. That's not much to complain about.
I'm gonna be honest, That felt. Holy cheese, holy cheese, holy cheese. I got pole, and I just run.
Yeah, fair enough. That works. Juho, any questions for Matthew?
Matthew, and well done on the victory. I unfortunately don't have questions for you, but I'm just gonna say well done, and hopefully we see you here in Academy for Aragon as well.
Maybe.
Well, we'll wait and see. Great to hear there from Matthew McKinnon, our race to winner. Let's now get in our only other driver who's waiting into at the moment, Lorenzo Etrovic-Funcic. Lorenzo, not really on night, I'm afraid. I know you had really high hopes for this evening, and yeah, just lady luck wasn't going your way tonight. Lorenzo, can you hear us? Looks like that's going to be a no on Lorenzo hearing us then for the time being. We'll wait to see if he's just maybe got a microphone issue, and we'll keep him around in the commentary box just in case he spurts back into life. In fact, what we'll do is there is somebody else waiting, so we'll move Lorenzo out for the time being, and we'll get Lucas Machulik in instead to see if we can grab a few words out of him. Lucas, if you can hear us. Wow, what a great couple of races that was from you, and some really exciting action as well. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was great. It was my debut in league racing as well. I don't really do league racing, but race 1 just stayed out of trouble, and the tire wear, Lorenzo, if you can hear me, like, amazing setup. My tire wear was very good. So yeah, avoided the contact in race 1, and then race 2 just pushed, avoided the incidents as well. I almost died like 3 times on lap 1, but everything worked out in the end, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, no reason why you shouldn't be happy. Again, it was your first time with us here at GPVWC Academy, and as you said, your first league race ever, so you've done fantastically. Can we expect to see you back in the future?
Oh yeah, sure. I look forward to racing. I've never really played R-Factor, but I've been really enjoying it since getting invited here. So yeah, Aragon as well, one of my best tracks in iRacing, so I'm very excited.
Okay, so do you think you're going to be winning again in Aragon then?
Maybe. I mean, there was a little bit less attendance here, so we'll just have to wait and see.
I guess so. Great job though, Lucas. Juho, any questions?
Yep. Hi, Lucas, and well done on your first win on your first race. And I've got to ask about the race 1 battle for the lead. When did you know that you would actually win this race? Like, when did you know that you had a chance?
Oh, well, James crashed out ahead of me. I saw him go on the curb and spin off. And I was like, alright, I'll settle for P2. But then my tire wear was much better than Duval's. So I started pushing a bit more, and then I just picked out my fight, and they crashed with the other guy, Grimo City. And yeah, so picked up the win there. Unfortunately, couldn't get Duval in the second race, but yeah, I knew that I was going to win from the tire wear situation.
Indeed, and well done again. And well, it's not an easy feat to get a GPV win on your first race, so you can pat yourself on the back for that one.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Not a problem. Great to hear there from Lucas at the end of that one. Let's see if we can now maybe try and speak to Lorenzo potentially. Lorenzo, can you hear us this time?
Yeah, you dragged me in right as I was joining the practice server to test something out.
Ah, okay.
My internet just decided to call it quits for a minute.
Yeah, apologies about that. Still though, yeah, difficult night for you, unfortunately. I know you were really looking forward to this round. You were very confident, but unfortunately Lady Luck just seemingly not on your side this evening. Talk us through it.
Yeah, you could call it that, for sure. It's the first round I actually practiced for this season, because I felt like it. I put in about 100 laps. And then qualifying, my escape key just decides not to work, because I decided to record. So I had to just sit there on pit exit for about 10 minutes until I just figured out that that's the reason why. Then race 1, it was okay for the most part. You know, I had some great battles: Georgios Davakos, Nathaniel Dance, Timo Kulin. You know, might have made a mistake of my own, they might have made a mistake of their own. That's really unimportant in the academy. And then race 2, you know, P2 starting 4th. Alright, could be decent, could be like top 10 for once. No, my force feedback decides to call it quits on the formation lap, so I just decided, right, sod it, I'm just gonna stick it out for as long as I can, get Matthew's win so he can stop whinging. Managed to stick it out for 3 laps, and then into turn 1 I just, well, I can't use that term really, we're on stream, but yeah, I sort of just died into turn 1 and took Nathaniel Dance with myself. If he's listening to this, I'm sorry mate. I had no force feedback, so it was just collateral. And then I sort of just, you know, gave up, dropped off, was battling Davide Magia for a bit, and then had a spin, damaged half my car, went into the pit lane, got lapped, and then on the final lap had another spin, just even more gave up and just let everyone pass because, quite frankly, I couldn't be bothered and just wanted to get it over with. Aragon's in, what, 2 weeks? I'll practice for that again. I'm starting to sort of understand the car now, so maybe it goes better in 2 weeks' time, especially now that, you know, I'm on call. And now that everything's over and done with, everything works as it should, you know. Force feedback isn't dead. All the keys on my keyboard work. Even now that I'm on call, my game isn't bugging, which was a problem for Sepang. So, you know, sound. Maybe that happens in Aragon as well. And I actually managed to get a good result, hopefully with a bigger field of drivers as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed that at least, and of course, fingers crossed, you know, you've got less hardware issues, and maybe the racing gods are feeling a bit better about you that evening. Juho, anything to ask Lorenzo?
Hi, Lorenzo. Well, a difficult race, of course. I mean, you had a good qualifying and improvement, but I don't have any questions. But either way, I hope everything will go better next race as well.
Oh, me too, mate.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of of the same opinion that, you know, we don't want to see you struggling out there like that. It was you know, your heart, all of our hearts are going out to you on that one. But yeah, thanks for coming to speak to us, Lorenzo. Yeah, hard luck tonight. Fingers crossed. Next time with Aragon, hopefully less things break, less things go wrong, and you can be up there, you know, fighting where you should be.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great to hear from Lorenzo Etrovic-Vuncic there. And that is all that we've got time for here for our round 6 of the GPVWC Academy Series. Juho Sopanen, what a crazy night that was, though. Some brilliant racing. And again, given that we're at Kyalami as well, a circuit we don't normally go to in GPVWC, really put on a show for us tonight.
Yeah, it did put us a show tonight. And of course, I think mostly of the part, I think people would absolutely want this track still on the Academy calendar. So, of course, if we get it next year, then it would be nice to see it as well. But for sure, today's been a absolutely amazing day for racing as well. And of course, well, we've got more races coming up. So yeah, for sure, we're gonna see anything better in Aragon as well.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed. Well, thank you, Juho, for being alongside me. Been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Of course, we'll be back on next race in the Academy Series. We'll be at Aragon in a couple of weeks' time. But here at GPVWC, you can join us tomorrow night from 7:30 for Super Lights and Thursday night from 7:30 British Summertime for Super League. For myself, Ross McIntyre, Juho Sopanen alongside me, and Amir Oates on the cameras. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.